Border City dropped a beat with a well-known DJ last night. His short stay in the city didn't go as planned, but in the end, the show must go on. Mike Baden has more.
After a 2-hour delay in the Calgary airport, DJ Steve Aoki landed just in time to hit the stage.
It took me 12 hours to get here from Kamloops. Got stuck in an airport. It was just a long day to get here, but it was all well worth it. The crowd was great. I love playing in front of new people.
Aoki has been working his way up the charts in recent years and is now one of the more popular DJs in North America.
In 2003, I signed a band called Block Party. At that time, I was living in LA and we were throwing cool indie rock parties. These DMAC parties were just entirely all bands DJ. So I just became a DJ.
He stumbled across DJing when he was younger and along the way has taught himself the tricks of the trade.
Just by DJing, I learned how to DJ, and then I learned the art of DJing, and then now I'm producing music, DJing, running my label DMAC, doing my clothing line D1 and DMAC collection, and really busy.
Recently, he's been working on a couple new tracks with his new record hitting stores in December.
I have a single with Rivers Cuomo from Weezer called Earthquakey People coming out in 2 weeks. Then my next record in November is coming out is a record with Tiesto called Tornado.
The next stop on his tour is tonight in Regina.
Thank you guys so much for a great show.
Mike Baden, Newcap News.
Members of the local community players are well into rehearsals for their latest production, See How They Run. It's a full-length 3-act British farce that will open at the Juba Community Theatre. And as Whitney Stinson reports, the cast finally has a place to rehearse that meets their dynamic set needs.
Howdy, hi.
Howdy, hi. With the help of a few volunteers and cast members, one of the most elaborate sets that will ever hit the Juba stage has become a reality. One local family has allowed them to build it in their empty warehouse so they can practice for their big night.
It's important, but we need all these doors coming and going, lots of people coming and going, doors slamming and opening and closing, and so it's very important that we have this set.
The set was recommended by the writer Philip King. The actors say it's really helping them bring the vision of the play to life.
Lots of people coming and going, no one really knows what's going on, everyone's confused and everyone thinks someone's someone else.
The play follows Corporal Winton, an ex-American actor who meets up with a former colleague, Penelope Toop, who has just moved back to England to marry her childhood sweetheart.
Really? If this is the kind of behavior they teach you in the army, the sooner you resign, the better.
But is not being well accepted by the community that she's come into because she's rather flamboyant and the community is rather staid.
We decided to go out for a night on the town to see a play that we starred in. And Penelope convinces me to dress up as her husband in a vicar's uniform, get rid of my soldier's uniform. And we go out and then mass confusion starts.
You're taking all the crease out of Lionel's second-best trousers.
To heck with Lionel's second-best trousers. Where's my trousers? Where are they?
The offbeat comedy is all about timing and pacing, and it's been a real challenge for these actors. But it's one they hope they can overcome.
I love comedy because you get a reaction from the audience. It gives you a lot of adrenaline to keep going.
I think in today's climate we need to laugh. And if our public are willing to deposit their woes and their worries and their concerns at the front door of the Juba Theatre, they will have a couple of hours of relaxing and laughing and just enjoying life.
The show opens November 19th. Tickets are selling fast for a front row seat to find out exactly what is behind each of these doors.
Tell the bishop I'm not at home.
Whitney Stinson, Newcap News.
The City of Lloydminster is changing its ways when dealing with garbage intake. For this week's Green Living, Mike Baden explains how a new expansion will help open up some more space.
The city is hoping to reduce the amount of waste people drop off at the landfill.
That includes things like taking gently used furniture to the restore and reducing the amount of waste that we're putting into the landfill cell.
They've also set up a new area where people can bring in old and unneeded items.
We've got a recycling area where residents can put things such as electronics, tires, paint, batteries, propane tanks, and those types of things.
With environmental legislations becoming more strict when dealing with engineered liner requirements, it becomes more difficult to keep things running smoothly.
So it's very expensive to operate landfills, and it's very expensive to take up airspace within the landfill. So anything that you can do to reduce the amount of waste going in makes it more cost effective.
Currently, the landfill is under a huge renovation.
Right now we have an expansion to our line cell where our waste goes. So we're running out of room in our current cell and are having to expand our operation.
The expansion is expected to be completed this fall. Mike Baden, Newcap News.
This feature brought to you by Lakeland College Environmental Sciences. Prepare for your green career by completing one of the college's 6 environmental sciences programs. Lakeland College. Live the learning.
It's been said that one measure of a government's success is how transparent they are. And after the break, we'll hear from the opposition who accuse Harper's Conservatives of hiding behind closed doors.
Stocks and oil prices brought to you by Spectrum Restoration. When disaster strikes, don't wait. Call the professionals at Spectrum Restoration, a certified member of the Canadian Disaster Restoration Group.
Thank you, Gerard. The summer of 2011 will be remembered as the most successful growing season in years. As harvest draws to a close, many farmers are pleased with the outcome of their crops. In this week's Crop Report, Peter Quinlan takes a look at what made this year different.
If you've been out driving over the past few weeks, you will recognize these familiar sights. Fields of stubble are all that's left over from a successful growing season.
It's been many years since I've seen a beautiful harvest as what we've had this year. I mean, we had great temperatures, very little rain, very little of the wheat got bleached out this year.
In the previous 2 years, harvest has been plagued with rainfall, forcing some farmers to wait until November to take in their crop. Shapansky says despite a late start to the growing season, this year has ended well.
This year, for the most part, you might as well say the end of September, they were wrapped up. So we were having a late crop that was 7 to 10 days behind, and then this exceptional harvest, the two have worked out, and we're probably on par right now for harvest for a normal year.
Now that most farmers have finished their biggest task of the year, the next step is to transport and store their grain. One option is the Canadian Wheat Board Grain Flow Program. Farmers can sign up starting October 11th as long as they know the quantity and grade of their grain.
So if a farmer has a pile on the ground right now, and he wants to move it as soon as possible, he'll be able to move it all between December 15th and March 15th.
Not all farmers are thinking about grain disposal quite yet. About 10% of canola crops have yet to be harvested as farmers wait for enough moisture to bring the plants to full maturity.
It has just dried down too quick. Some of that 30-degree weather just brought it down to 5 and 6% moisture.
With all of the moisture we've had in the area over the past few days, farmers who have not yet harvested their canola should be able to in the next few weeks. Peter Quinlan, Newcap News.
It's time now to announce today's winner of Lloyd FM's Find the Farmer, Find the Fuel promotion. Every morning, Kurt and Heather play a 10-second clip, and then in the afternoon, Travis K. will give the first caller through with the correct location a $100 fuel card from Co-op Agro Centres. You can also enter at Agro Centres in Lloydminster, Lashburn and Neilburg. Today's on-air winner is Gord King from Lloydminster. He now qualifies for the grand prize of a $10,000 Agro Centre gift card. A reminder, all qualifiers must be Co-op members and a farmer. The man who created one of the most successful tech companies in the world has died. After the break, we'll take a look at the legacy of former Apple CEO Steve Jobs.
The ag and commodity prices are brought to you by City Centre Auto Body. They can fix anything at City Centre Auto Body, Lloydminster.